in this video, we're moving on further with the tests. We have these two questions and we have to simplify and state restrictions on them. So we got 3x to the 10 over 2y cubed times 10y squared over 6x cubed. Now, if you remember, I listed out 3 steps in the lecture videos. 3 general steps you always want to go through. You want to factor everything. Then after you factor, you want to state your restrictions. And then you want to simplify. And you want to state your restrictions before you simplify in case factors cancel out and you forget that from those factors you still have to get the restrictions. So here, notice that everything is factored already. There's nothing that we could factor in either of these numerators or either of these denominators. So from here, we state the restrictions. Basically, we're multiplying, so the denominators can't be 0. And notice that means that y can't be 0 and x can't be 0. Those are the 2 restrictions. Because if either of those are 0, then these denominators will be 0. You can't be dividing by 0. So then to simplify, what you can do is you can just multiply these. So 3 times 10 is 30. X to the 10 y squared all over 2 times 6, which is 12. This is x cubed y cubed. And then from here you can just simplify. 30 over 12, that would simplify to 5 over 2, right? You could divide both by 6. X to the 10 over x to the 3, there's 10 x's up top, 3 x's at the bottom, which leaves us with 7 x's at the top, right? 10 minus 3. Then y squared over y cubed, y squared over y cubed, that's the same as there being 2 y's up top, 3 y's at the bottom. Cancel, cancel, cancel. We're left with 1 y at the bottom. So that is the answer. That's what it simplifies to, and those are the 2 restrictions. Moving on to number 2. First step, we got a factor. So notice this numerator here, that will factor into x plus 2 times x plus 2, so it's like x plus 2 squared. But you know what, actually, I'm just going to rewrite the x plus 2's twice. Just because when we cancel stuff out, I feel like it will be easier to see in case one of the x plus 2's will cancel out. And then over here, notice we could take out a 3 from the numerator there. And then this denominator, if you do decomposition on that, that will factor into x minus 3, x minus 2. All right, so everything is factored. So now what you want to do is you want to get your restrictions. So notice that we're dividing here. So the restrictions come from the denominators, but when you're dividing, you also want to look at the numerator of the rational expression that you're dividing by. So starting here, x minus 2 can't equal 0, which means x cannot equal 2. X minus 3 can't equal 0, which means x cannot equal positive 3. X minus 2 can't equal 0. We already took care of that here. And since we're dividing, we got to look at this numerator as well. Because if the numerator is 0, this whole thing is 0, we can't be dividing by 0. So notice there's 3 division symbols going on here. This, and then this one. So x plus 2 can't equal 0. That means x cannot equal negative 2. That's the 3rd restriction. If this was here, if this was multiplying, then we wouldn't look at the x plus 2. We would just look at the denominators. But because we're dividing, you got to look at the numerator of the expression you're dividing by. Not this expression, the numerator of the expression you're dividing by, the second one. All right, so we got our 3 restrictions, and now we simplify. So the way we simplify, we got x plus 2 times x plus 2 all over x minus 2. we have to flip this. So this would be multiplied x minus 3 times x minus 2 all over 3 bracket x plus 2. Like that. And now you just cross stuff out. So this crosses out with that, this crosses out with that. That's why I wrote it twice. So you could see that only one of them are going to cross out. So one of them is still going to be remaining. And I think that's it. Nothing else will simplify. So x plus 2 times x minus 3. And then in the denominator, we'll just be left with a 3, I believe. Yeah. So that's what it simplifies to, and those are the restrictions.